I could do that. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Happy Wednesday to you.
We have too many electronics going here this
We got
morning.
bells and whistles going off today. They're still talking, apparently.
All right. Today we're talking about a controversial subject, or at the very least, one that people ask about a whole lot.
Yeah, we get this a lot.
And that is agent versus broker. Whose brand wins? So, are you a broker who's concerned that your agents are promoting their own brand instead of yours? Or are you an agent torn between promoting your own brand or the brokerage brand? Well, we're going to talk to you about 4 thought-provoking things today that'll hopefully set your mind straight on all that, give you a great perception about it, and help you understand how to handle those situations.
Yep. Guys, we preach branding. That's what we do. That's what she did. She brought me into it. I love it every day. We work with people all over the nation, 4 different countries. We absolutely love talking about branding and how that helps grow businesses. And we are also living proof of the exact things that we teach every day. So the very first principle, you are your brand, folks. Listen, you hear a lot about it out there. You hear about brands, and then you go and you build your brand, and then you follow their click-through funnel, and they're going to build a website for you. That's not a brand. That's a place where you put your brand on. You know what a brand is? You. And whether or not you're working on a brand or not, you have a brand. You either have a brand that you are teaching people how to treat you as and attract the people that you're interested in, or you have a brand that they're just giving to you. You know what I mean? Like Otis on Andy Griffith show, like he was the town drunk. Guess what? That was his brand. And his brand was given to him by everybody else because of what they perceived about him. Now, it happened to be the very thing that he does, so it sort of fit. However, they can also assign you a brand that does not. All right. So first off, whether you are a broker or an agent, you are your brand. And once you understand that, then you have to say, okay, well, what am I promoting? My broker's brand? The law says that I work for that broker and that everything that I do works for that broker, right? Is it a broker's business or is it mine? It's both. And we're going to talk to you about that. Your broker's business is built, and for those of you who are a broker, I'm speaking to you from the same club. I've been a broker since 2000, about 21 years now. I've been in the industry about 27. If you're a broker, then your business is built upon your culture, what you stand for, what you have worked for, what you want to be known for. It's your ideals, it's your ethics, and the way you do business. They're all crucial to that brand. Right. And this may be slightly or maybe even vastly different from what a broker or an agent's brand will look like. But we're going to talk to you today about how you can absolutely have both. In fact, it's really a necessity in the world we live in today.
Exactly. And nobody better than Michael really to speak to that, because he understands what it's like to have a broker's brand, right? But also to have 28 agents underneath him that have their own unique personal brand.
Yep.
He brought them into the business because they are unique. And so, all right, so you are your brand, right? That's the first thing we want to talk about. You are your brand. The second thing we want to talk about is you are building a culture. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're building a culture. And I'll tell you one recent thing that we saw last weekend that brought this into play more than anything else. And we were watching the Rush documentary. So how many Rush fans we got out there? Like, give us a shout out in the comments, Rush fans. Okay. If you haven't seen the Rush documentary, I think it's Time Stand Still, Rush. So look that up. But about halfway into this documentary, there was a fanatic fan, right?
and that was his description. That was his own brand.
It was his description. And he said, okay, there's God, there's family, and then I'm a Rush fan. and he said, I identify myself that way. Those were his words. He said, I identify myself as a Rush fan. And at that moment, now he happens to have the world's largest collection of Rush memorabilia.
Print memorabilia.
Crazy. So that's true. Print memorabilia. And live tapings of live recordings, concert recordings. It's just incredible.
Worldwide.
Everything he had.
Yeah. He had 91 pages single spaced of identifiable items.
Yes. And those were line items of all the different things he had, not 91 different things, 91 pages of line items of
Yeah.
memorabilia that he had to keep up with. So we looked at each other as we're watching that and we're thinking, man, that's committed. That is committed. And so think about that as you're building not just a brokerage brand or your personal brand, that both applies in this case. You're building a culture of people who believe in the product or the service that you deliver. Brokers are not only representing what they stand for, but they're also representing the culture they want to build within their brokerage.
Right.
So think about that as a broker, guys. If you are if you're a broker or a team leader, either one applies, and you're trying to build a customer base out there, keep in mind that your brand also attracts the right type of agents into your brokerage as well. So it's huge for brokers to understand that what building a culture is all about. Now, agents, they have to consider the brokerage they're going to work with every day, right? So agents, you should look for a culture that really aligns with your own ideals and desires, and pick a brokerage that's going to personally invest in you, for one thing, in terms of education, maybe marketing, things like that, but definitely in terms of being on the same page with culture. So if you're recently starting out as an agent and you want a broker that will invest time, money, and effort in you, right? So
it's the most important trait to look for.
It truly is. It truly is. And your brand as a broker should dictate that, should share that is what you do for your agents as well as for your customers. So you'll want to clearly identify your own brand, right? And your ideal customers inside the brokerage culture that you're joining. So I think that says enough. You're building a culture, whether you're a broker or whether you're an agent, it's all the same, and you're attracted to each other that way as well. So that's the second thing, is you are building a culture.
Yep. And number three, remember, whether you're a broker or whether you're an agent that is working under a broker and defining your own brand underneath that broker's culture, your brand is a soldier that works for you 24/7. It is the way I look at it. It's the way I describe to each one of my agents, as well as my marketing team. This is what we're doing. We want to put this soldier out there 24/7 so it works for us, right? It's only any of your brands are only going to be as strong as the people that represent it. Okay. So if you're a broker and you've set that culture and your brand is, you want this type of agent in your agency, and this is, you're building that tribe, if you will, if you're building that family, and you're attracting people for what you provide to them. What kind of resources do you give them? What kind of leads are you going to try to provide? What kind of advertising are you going to do for them? What kind of back end support are you going to give them? What kind of front end support are you going to give them? What kind of office support are you going to give them? Like, all of those things make your brokerage attractive to them. Now, also as your agents, then when your agents come in and they want to build their own personal brand, that needs to take that culture that actually got them to come to you, that trustworthiness, that authenticity in your brand, and they're going to add their brand to it, and then they're going to build their customer base culture. And once you start to do that, your agents are actually continuous soldiers for you, the broker, right? And then their branding is also continuous soldiers for them, attracting the clients in the customer base that they want, and you continue to work that. As long as they fit into your culture, they do not necessarily have to match everything you do or stand for. They can take that and add to it, okay? Agents can soar with their own strengths and stand on their own merits, and it ends up building your brokerage. I encourage this very much inside my own brokerage, because I know that if a person is proud of their brand, then they know how to knock on doors with that. They know how to talk to people at functions like that. They are learning how to put their brand out there. And guess what goes along with them in every piece of marketing material that they put out there, in every speech? Your brokerage. Okay. So definitely, folks, if you're a broker and you're attracting people, build a brand that is attractive to the people that you want to bring in, and then give them the freedom to go build their own brand, taking you with them.
Because there's so much pride that comes with that, right? It's kind of like, the Rush fan is a great example of being committed to a brand and saying, this is what I stand for. This is how I identify myself. But the where that departs from what we're talking about is he identifies himself by someone else, right? Completely by someone else. And he's a Rush fan. So he identifies himself on their merits and what they stand for. In this case, you're identifying yourself with your brokerage and with what you personally stand for.
Yeah, what you bring to that brokerage.
Exactly. So what's the answer to all of this? How do you handle, do I promote the brokerage? Do I promote myself? Obviously, it's both, but here's a better, more poignant answer to that. It is, we suggest you promote yourself and protect the brokerage. Obviously, as Michael says, legalities, you have to take that brokerage logo and brand with you everywhere you go. That's awesome. You're proud of that. That's why you joined the brokerage. You also have the opportunity to layer on top of that your own brand. We do it every day. We've been doing it for 8 years, thousands of people across the US. It works. Yeah. Right. So,
and if any broker out there is even like thinking, well, I don't know about that, I want them to just tote that business brand. Trust me, your contemporaries don't necessarily agree. We have never 7 years, we have never run into a broker that was concerned about one of their agents building out their own brand, because they know if you're that committed to put yourself out there and build your business, you're building their business too. It's a win-win situation. Like I can tell you guys personally, 47% of all of my agents are professionally branded with their own professional brand, built upon 77 different criteria. Now, here's what's the interesting statistic about that. Not only are the top 9 agents in my entire organization all professionally branded, right? If you take any one of those top 9 that are professionally branded and just pull out their numbers, GCI, gross volume, everything, if you pull those numbers out, they outdo all of the other agents combined. Like just one of them. So, I mean, it really, we can attest to the power of the personal branding. And the killer thing about it is every time they go into a neighborhood, every time that they go to a function or go to a ball game, or every time they're seen at a restaurant, yes, they are getting known for who they are, which is great, because I love to see the growth in a human being. But they also are taking my brokerage with them, my ideas, my culture, the things that I stand for, not what my personal brand stands for. They take the Abundant Life broker with them everywhere that they go. And it's a really win-win situation.
It's a beautiful partnership.
It is.
And I'll tell you one other thing that's really important, because if we've been doing this, personal branding for agents, brokers, and teams for 7-8 years now. I hear this quite a bit. Well, I don't know if I want to brand myself because I may be leaving my brokerage soon, or I may be changing, and we're not advocating everybody jump and leave your brokerage, but we know a certain amount of you do that every year because we've dealt with it. And so the most beautiful thing about creating your own personal brand is that you're developing you. You're developing you for many of you for the first time ever, looking deep into answering those 5 very most important questions every great brand must answer. Michael, what are they?
Yeah. What sets you apart? Who do you serve? How do you serve them? What qualifies you to serve them? And the most important, in my opinion, is how does it make their life better? Your brand must answer those 5 things, whether you're a broker or whether you're an individual agent. It has to. If it doesn't, then that's the reason why you're not seeing your marketing work. And if any of you have felt like, oh, marketing doesn't work. Marketing, I sent out 10,000 postcards and nobody called me. Right. If you're that person, I was that person also till I met her. She turned everything around for our brokerage. It continues to grow year over year, day over day, hour over hour. And we can do the same thing for you. Trust us on this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the great news is you build up that brand. And if you do by chance move to another brokerage or an agency, then really all you need to do is remove their branding from your material and replace it with the new brokerage or the new agency. It's really that simple, because all the rest of it is 100% you, and nobody has ever failed investing in themselves, guys. Exactly. Nobody. So we'll leave it there. I hope that helps you guys to understand. So we'll just hit these bullet points one more time. Agent versus broker, whose brand wins? Number 1,
you are the brand.
Number 2, you are building a culture.
Number 3, your brand is a soldier that works 24/7 for you.
And number 4, the answer is promote yourself, protect your brokerage, guys. And I hope that helps you. If you guys have any questions about building your own personal brand and want to learn more about us, go to discussyourbrand.com. And we will be glad to take a 30-minute call with you and dig deep into that and find out how we can help you.
Yep, folks, it's about mindset. If you're not getting the results that you want, you need to change that mindset. Listen, we talk about these things because we just love prosperity. And when we talk about prosperity, we're not just talking about money. That's just a portion of prosperity. We're talking about the whole 360 of an abundant life that we truly wish for every one of you guys. We know for a fact right here at Brand Face that prosperity favors the bold. So we say be bold, folks, especially with your brand, especially in 2021. And of course, thank you, Ms. Tom.
Thank you, Michael. All right, guys. If you have any questions for us, you know where to find us.
Have a great week.
Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.